for the origin, the universe, and the solid matter upholds its side of the argument of existing. And we are here to participate, Perfect Circle, with the nexus of the all told Halloween special, the climactic Vampire King taking over the world, a celebrity company. It's a new production studio. The visual narrative causes a new American economy. My company involves employing hundreds, waves of people, a greater social adaptation, like social revolution on an app, but fueled with powerful characters, like the Clockwork King, a fetus character, a universal creation angel entirely clockwork, and heralding the hour and the year, the Halloween twins, causing their permanent indication. The sequence in the universe map where we can exist perpetually. We build ourselves without flaw. The three metals from the universe to save our people is a true love event. Hatch and Millie's is the revolution center for the heart of people, where they can feel the right leaping of love all the way to Christmas. Well, all the way to Christmas. All the way to Christmas Town. Perfect bullseye. They're making the the best of the hour in the fractions, perfect circle. We do exist, and the optimization of existing is a mutual strain of the professional. We're here to perform in Supreme Lotus for the universe to achieve the maximum. Our professional interface with the universe. I facilitate this visually, and because I'm on beta, there's a certain human level of everything, and it's very good. It's very powerful. My incarnation is unavoidably a human origin of identity, the expression. I'm very expressionate, but because I'm so badly censored from the holy war of UFO and levels of premeditated against our societal bloc and against our life on this earth, which perverts our expression. And you of course on Christmas Day we're all going to be empathetic towards each other, loving, and my narrative isn't someone that's going around cutting into the individual, being like, hey, this person, I'm pointing at them, but rather my incarnation indicates the statistical engine statistics wielding, because the finite head count we know, and these are like the bones of the hatch used for eggs, and the fury in the universe is that some of the Helios for eggs have been murdered and are absent from the head count from the Big Bang. As part of the physics of how can the individual survive through the crushing of existence for millions of years. Even rocks are find are part of the meditation, and find the epiphany of perishing, or evolving anyway. It's kind of this leapfrog of existing, and it's the plan of the forever self. And to get the dance correct is to perfect every important sequence. And so times 10 million, we achieve the perfect dance here. And for my entire family tree, perfect bullseye, perfect circle, infinite. Here is the seed of Zion. Here are the evidence hatch the heliosphere eggs. And the things that threaten the hatching of the heliosphere eggs is like a time width from the future. And that is where I truly exist, is in the correct universal function. And the extreme isn't, it's not about startling the horse or the eyes, but the origin of perception on the green perception. The disorder in the universe wants to prevent the green perception origin, the divinity of the circle and the fractal, to prevent the production of my communication to America and to humanity. That is this thriving evil empire, the real terrorist. And it's an energy type that you need to try to avoid. But the humans are going through that. It is anatomical, and whether or not we live here is what they're choosing against their own children. To be scientific is to allow for our partnership, for our business. To work hard with your hands is to change humanity and save the universe. All the while you're pretending and strickening the audience and ruining everything, pretending that we're not empowered, saying that it isn't full power. So the beginning of perception empowerment needs to be rooted with the idol, Hatch 5, to become a heavily produced celebrity is exactly what is required, and it solves the whole problems with everything, because then the individual of public humanity, which is the struggling effort of artists and a huge community of really intelligent people, all of a sudden the individual receives their wings. So it's not a viral event, but we are in fact the individual whose vitals are being attacked. Because of my singularity, I was being treated differently from the other humans, and there was a blanket effect of instructions of how to misbehave with. Well, it's to supersede, it's an invitation for our extinction. And it's why humans laugh, is because they're become drunk on the invitation, and then, oh no, it backfired, but it's so secret and private that they can't, like, no, that can't be possible. Evil doesn't exist. Denying reality is not effective combat. So I've installed Holy War. And let us now perform the Lotus for Universal Revolution Center. Explode E5000. Balanced on glass. right? Sweet precision alignment, clean, perfect sanctuary, working environment, times 5,000, perfect bullseye. For the universe to defeat body sickness, for us to defeat sickness and to defeat problems before they happen, so as to make ourselves appear more lucky, but we're actually doing the work now, like a wrinkle in time that saves the greater vitals, the grappling of, yeah, we are that origin revolution. So let's prepare the nucleus for the Universe Revolution Center to destroy the black holes, to destroy tyranny and terrorist formation, but for the individual to thrive and literally to cut to the point, practical, because I respect my audience. I'm just telling you, I am the wellspring for a human revolution. I'm valued at billions of dollars. Producing me earns a lot of money, but because the humans can't sense the future, they're always thinking in this retrograde of like forgetfulness, or look, that's what's fond about being old, is just like, oh, here's everyone's here, blah, and like this sort of blah thing. But what about producing Hatch 5? That's the hardcore thing. And in all the constraints of the universe, the reason for angels in the map, the identity, is to do the work that the earth cannot provide, especially when his metals are being triangulated by infected metals that are causing body strangulation, black hole eradication of worlds. And it's a million-year-old metal abbreviation from the healthy relationship with heliosphere follow through. Like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah. Clockwork, and then, but they're going in through insane, but it isn't, it's finally being proven as not healthy because the amount of damage from the black holes. Like, what is the use? What is the material of metals, and what is it for? Why are we drawn to the earth, but we didn't land there, so we went stalking, and then the earth started dying, so we're going to blame the humans again. Like, how do we defeat that virus? Perfect circle, perfect bullseye. So it'll be that these UFOs and their various forms, for example, there's some old pilgrim ships built millions of years ago, and they're very beautiful, and they're hidden deep in the rocks of Earth. But the intelligence barrier about the health garden is upon business with the fractal incarnate. Because humans are triggered, it indicates the achievement level of landing parties and whether or not their spiritual thing had entropied with residency physics. Right? So you guys are the robotics of that, and partially because the pineal gland is the robot. The fact that the middle plate of the boy fractal is the unicorn's horn. Well, even if some other creature had a pineal gland moving forward and a sequential unicorn's horn, like that caused light, right? They're like meditating and their ghost is going, little lights coming out of their forehead. Wow, that's where we believe that person has a soul. So what's about this dissection fever and reductionist? Like, what are the humans, the symposium about us is like they're tempting on our murder. Like, oh, we might kill you. Do you guys like that? and I'm telling them, like, guys, don't align with those dangerous government energy. And the individual is at the task. So, like, a lot of organizing happens, and then like things get clarified suddenly. An institution is being clarified by the workers, where and it's because they've learned about hatch the heliosphere eggs recently, or the metaphysics of the correct function of our universe, hamstrings the projection of everything else. So it brings it back to Hatch 5, was the natural born leader, the fractal center, fractal identity, and basically how the rainbow operates. The Hatch the heliosphere eggs clarifies the law for the next billions of years. And so powerfully that all of a sudden the chaos individual across the universe has a new perspective, new eyes, where they can tell the difference between the monstra, that like creative monsters of like the individuals of humanity, who are like, really want the best things to happen, but they appear to be like clumsy or whatever. But the thing is that production is required, and when they fail to produce the singularity, they activate this sort of human anatomical trigger system that is both personal and impersonal, which is both the hive and all our anatomy and our junk, which isn't a hive, right? But is also the thing. So you're um, encountering me is always a lot of energy. It's about rattling the cage of everything. All right, so how much better it is to facilitate and allow it to be a beautiful banquet, right? Because when I'm working with just the image here, I feel it to be more profound, like a nucleus, um, like seed physics. But I think the female tendency or nature, or where her power spawns. So she's talking about her own advantage, but her nature would be kind of like, I feel upset when I'm because I can sense how Colin's being how he's frustrated because he because of the clashings are real, but then there's a mishmashing of assassinations that are not the failing of the individual, but are on all sides as well. Like, there have been times when I've nearly had a producer. I watched some of my old films, and there were times when I tuned in, and what I was talking about, although it was very extreme, like when motion capture was brand new, to have like a production studio where there's this wolf president, just talking with people, and then a lot of editing, that really would have changed the world. And but I have to admit, there were a lot of times when I was recording. I am a recording professional, and so but to open up that, I have to go through all that work to open up a realm where a lot of other amazing things become possible. And we've achieved that. That's where we're at. We're in the laboratory where we can make the most gains. We're working on our unicorn horn. We're talking about the future, right? To clarify the law for the next millions of years allows us to pinpoint on the map the spawn locations throughout the universe that are our strongholds that we can rely on. And upon that place is where, that's where I get with all my ladies. So this is where angel harem, I mean, my wife, like a powerful tree of women, live inside of my castle establishment. It is like a factory. It's larger than the universe. The clairvoyance of empty space has been hacked and demented because of a outer space murderer, that the Earth heliosphere as the singularity of the universe is sort of responsible for being the authority over them. So there's a lot of pressurized systems that weigh the human every day. And of course, if they are a coward, they cannot carry the power of law. And the reality is shattering, like a holy war of angels and demons fighting each other. But it's also inside of people, and it's also the individual. Like, what are you going to achieve with your life? And how can we cause permanent gain? And that's what the entire universe was working to render up to midpoint. But because of confusion from a remote hacking government who didn't have in spontaneous leadership of compelled upon understanding, right? So the individual, throttled by their own system, is reprising their own system. But unfortunately, the image receives permanent altercation, permanent change. And for me, with my queen of the universe, it's not okay to threaten our borders. Whereas you guys who are kind of, it's okay for your borders to be threatened, which means you're not an authority or any type of communication. And this is to, of course, protect the now point vitals, the vitals of modern family. Okay? So people feeling good isn't the evidence that they are right, because you don't want to betray the female's body who's designed to receive, basically have pleasure with everything. But I mean, that's a small mercy, like tryptophan from a turkey is like a small, like there's small nature jokes that are like adult humor, and you need to know when to leapfrog, and a lot of people miss this step because they're like, our institution isn't a intelligent family unit. So they miss a step, and they miss when to be caring, and when to be creative, and when to promote your creative thing, right? So I have to perfect my time of promoting Hatch and Millie in the universe, and because I'm born as the fractal, there's my alarm. Perfect bullseye. Hatch and Millie's master source industries full set. Precision equipment for the eternity. Happy Halloween. Halloween times 5. For the equipment, universal navigation. For the content of these books, for the Library of Wizard, the sound conveys the magic of. For the cover, causes a vacuum. And then this is how wood technology can find its identity. Wood can find identity in this type of device because of the application of sound. So because of sound, wood can find an identity. This is how paper works, and the origin of aluminum. The correct technological sensitivity for transcription and the dedication to technology robotics. Exactly. So the origin of metals, this staple, is a lifetime bracket technology, and that's what causes civilization. The triangulation of the individual as it counts down the arm of Cape Cod, and so we know the horizon has proven justice for the individual. So my interface with reality every day is most reality, impacting like a false reality of blanketed malpractice and not doing the right thing or being courageous. But to defeat evil, the individual must do more than what they're comfortable with. Because being a human is like a type of, you have to be responsible for the fact that the universe is all messed up because but we're being set up, so it's not like we can live on being victimized. You know. So to defeat like a time crisis, how do you six-dimensionally empower the individual of humanity? That's through producing Hatch 5. With an editor and production, things that feel like would be an argument amongst people is it clarified with the playful images. People see that, they understand it. And as an American professional, I am full power. I mean, I evolve, and I want to make the most powerful movie for my company Entropy. I see a huge curvature, but it's all based upon my identity in the right way. And so that's why it's beautiful, but also there's an evil twinge of humans where they're like, well, I'm not going to allow that to happen, because that is a temptation of power, a temptation of what is production, what is communication. At the heart of it, because I'm okay, like humans speak a language where they're like, the one exception is like if you bump into the singularity. There's sort of riddles of life and existence, or kind of the lesson, the physical lesson, where we can make a new identity cure to defeat evil where it's hiding. So for this most powerful and healthy universe, allow the Revolution Center and produce Hatch 5, even though it's difficult to do right now. With my production team, my media is delicious. Of course, my movies have other talented people woven into it, and the right distribution of my melodious voice, right, handled, with a production team, right? It's going to be exactly the keystone ingredient. And I see a triangulation of industry where my relationship, my communication with humanity, sort of like taking the right turn at every leap, based upon the intelligent power of the individual of humanity after my production. Because I always give humans a natural high, but then like how they spend it is this huge impact. And so I have a hard time building a confident audience, because what hurts is that the women can detect it. It's like, oh, if you receive production, this would be a really great movie. Like people would love to know about this, what you're talking about. But when you're meta, the of course the guys are going to take it so seriously, and the women are like, oh, what choice do I have? It's beta, But for her to be at the banquet, to be like, oh, things are working properly, is for the guys to produce Hatch 5. even though it hurts, because the universe is being murdered by an energy that encourages you to not produce Hatch 5. Because they created a metaphysics structure that is like a government, but is an imitation of gravity and the false procedure of the rainbow, and it's actually an imitation or replacement of the arrived individual, Colin Paul Woodard, the Hatch 5. So when you produce Hatch 5, you're grinding against the plot of the mothership. And this is like what the huge this is why it's totally really confusing, because it's the ultimate level of the individual will be like, I tried to produce you, but I was assassinated. And I'm like, I detect you have the metal of honor. Okay, but if you can defeat the curse, you would be saving the earth and saving humanity. I know you're excited, but you think that I'm tempestuous on your energy, so you're going to misspend it on some other project because you think it's just drugs. Because you're making an excuse. I'm a child, so just give me the lower treatment. But you're giving it to everyone. And it's a lower Zion, and it's going to destroy your communication company. It's going to destroy everything. Only because you're the impasse of intelligent business for a human every day. And because you put yourself to that strict reality, that's what you'll be suffering. But you only want to blame Colin. Why? Because that's the inverted nature of placing the appropriate amount of responsibility upon him. So if we put the responsibility that he should have, the fractal king, he has to do that. Okay, and I do. So now we're building something and making progress. You understand? If you hold me accountable and produce my show, then the women can tell the truth. But when I'm censored, she suffers alongside me because she's loving, because she's caring, because she understands things, and her men are confused about their orientation and place in the world. And they don't want to be tempted by a confusoid. Well, what, the mothership? You guys have already failed that task, and I'm here working with private production of American Revolution. It's the nature of mankind is behind my production. So on my pilot, then all the humans wake up. Then I know I can do a maneuver of like escape velocity and do a bunch more work in my life, but also it amounts for a greater future for mankind and the universe. Basically, strong bones for the universe to fight back against. Don't be a slug. Don't be so passive that we're, yeah, but people would, humans will get the energy and be like, oh, but that, that doesn't belong to Colin, but it always does. And I'm the origin of the particle DNA. So I'm aware of the human conflict, but it's not that I'm blaming the individual that lives in their body, but you guys are persecuting yourself to prevent production, right? Economic stability and relevance comes from Hatch 5. Because he was born the fractal, that's why people want to know more about him and want to be his friend. So he just needs to be packaged and shipped out and sold like a celebrity. But suddenly this is like unfamiliar, even though this is what you guys are familiar to with your Californian business. But until the singularity, they're an imitation of communication, not because I'm doing that, but because they're actually dying, because they actually are experiencing the family dying because they attacked the singularity or they prevented it, or they can't produce, and they don't really have a good reason why they don't talk or behave appropriately around a American wizard, the origin of the fractal. Right, so stretching out into the hatched heliosphere eggs, the corrected function of our universe, suddenly I have the ability to work the space and the canvas to perform the DNA that is the evolution. There are things on top of, beyond hatching the heliosphere eggs, there's additional important task that, I mean, the embodiment goes on to do more stuff. But during this, like, the now point, what time is doing is, and so the people and the equipment, the robots, are performing a mechanical task. Like the human anatomy cradles both a mechanical unification of like the acorn clairvoyance of the pineal eye gland being switched around by the original unicorn's horn. Of course, like other DNA specimens who have a clarified unicorn's horn are additionally a child of the fractal king, Hatch 5. Okay, so he's the origin of DNA. And so for like an alternate anatomical expression in the universe to say that they are superior to the humans would be outrageously stupid and retarded, like pure blasphemy, like the idiocy of the individual, because they haven't conquered the earth. You know, the humanity has conquered the earth. They have residency, and if the outer space, if the mothership is only performing its a universe killer virus thing, if it's only going on that path, there are ways to measure that conjecture. And I've been working on that throughout my life. But you know, once we get the results, it's an automatic thing. But how much holy war is going on in the universe today? We have to provide the resource center so that the universe can participate around a type of hostile energy that prevents interheliosphere communication. So, like a flattening, because of a false unification of our universe, because they didn't land properly, but then they're like, oh, but we think the humans are broken. And that's basically very dangerous racism against all human anatomy. And you know, it appears that modern human racism is like morbid debt. It's like people talking about hopelessness or something, but in the like like in millions of years later, it's like a crystal where we're talking about identity on a primal level. Like, hey, it's the feelings, or you're treating me different because I look different, and like for us, it's just like, oh, don't be demeaning. Like you're upside down. I didn't say anything demeaning. I said that there'd be a value to our struggle with one another if viewed from the future, or some type of corrected lens. But it might indicate the strain of our own extinction. You understand? Like how desperate is our conversation, our language of the people. So when you introduce Hatch 5, the language changes suddenly. And it allows the human individual to be the correct conduit of the universe image, whereas we're just being used, or I'm being strangled in my life. You guys can't see the invisible punches, but you're aware of it. I'm not asking you to struggle. The truth will be revealed to you. Great award from the universe shall be delivered to your identity when you produce and promote Hatch 5 for the real popularity and celebrity, and how California is an imitation or detraction from the fractal universe atomic event. It's the origin of gravity, measurement, all the answers. It's supposed to bring in the greatest creatures, but what I have is a type of reality, and I'm looking for human business. I'm looking for those that want power. The perfect circle to grasp with power is to put your hand to business with Colin Paul Woodard, the fractal born hatch 5. For the hatching of the Helix Regs, DNA does not require black hole decay or these pressurized systems. So being a hero will be greatly awarded because of the reality of how we're moving faster than the speed of light. Human history and whether or not humans activate with the communication of Halloween, the Vampire King. Or how much is it that my family tree is subtly, factually doing all the work of a universal conquest, global, superior vampire, the origin of Halloween, the Halloween twins, Lotus, perfect circle, perfect event, the forever body of the fractal Vampire King, and all the things that he will need arrive. The sequence, full force, good cell division, it grows. Happy Halloween. They have this huge Halloween party. Everyone has a really good time. Perfect birthday party for my son, Vampire King. A great master over the universe. Here's his universe factory. How he's changing space and time. Part of his DNA. Some of his technology is formed over the years. Every year he grows more powerful. Clockwork arranges Halloween. The Halloween King performs 10 million miraculous, vampire-centric, perfect circle, perfect bullseye events on this Halloween day. Exponentially more and more. The Halloween Kings. The revolution of the good monsters. The bringing it together gang. The get along gang from the 80s, 70s. Oh, a streaming service. The Triangle, Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries, origin of all that they factually originated, and kind of capitalizing on that real estate. All right, that's good. For the completion of my family tree on their happy birthday and Halloween seance, the party continues. The party's going to continue all day and into the night. Kind of branches over, and it brings in a double Christmas. So we're expecting a great, vast Christmas day. Millie's Law, the blessing from his mother. The staple, the fact of our identity, is a type of inheritance spawn location magnet finder. And the humans are being fit with a false magnet finder. So the individual is fighting to make these system complete. That we've reached the ultimatum. Universe uses a logic sequence, like running out of time. But the logic and the argument is like efficiency and the urgency for humanity to have the banquet is very popular. It's worth billions of dollars. Produce Hatch 5 and save the world. Happy Halloween times 10 million. The perfect Halloween blessing for the perfect Halloween party. Mirror.